Ryan Marks. It's not looking good, is it?
Don't I get a lawyer?
You don't need a lawyer. But you do need my help.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So you don't want to talk? Okay. Let me tell you what I know.
Alright, this is a fun game. You guys remember the London heist? Even if you didn't play it, you probably saw this clip somewhere.
There's been no claims, gun. Here, make yourself useful.
It was basically the car chase from every action movie ever, except this was like strapping the movie onto your face so you can move around in it, lean left and right, turn around, open the door and shoot behind you like... Great fun, but the London heist was only 30 minutes long, so it was really just a tech demo to show what the PSVR could do if Sony would just give the London studio enough time to make a real game with it. Well, Sony took the bait, funded a full-scale release, and here we are now with the somewhat confusingly titled Blood and Truth. Confusing because despite the title, they chose not to put any blood in this game at all.
That's right. That's what you get.
Blood and Truth is in fact the very first VR title that I've ever completely finished. Not played, mind you, I've played plenty of them. But VR is in a place right now where there are really two big things holding it back. Firstly, the hardware feels like a real first-pass effort, and playing VR is just as much about fighting against the technology as it is the enemies on the screen.
Get in the goddamn... Just grab the vape thing at least.
Secondly, and more importantly, I'm one of those people that gets extremely VR sick. I'm talking like, give me 5 minutes on a VR game with a lot of fluid movement and I begin to sweat profusely. And can I just ask, why does the body decide that the best way to deal with the feeling of disorientation is to start sweating? Like, how are those two things linked? Anyway, it's for this reason I've either avoided VR games or I've just stuck to the ones where there's almost no movement involved so I can be certain I'll keep down my previous meal by the end of the play session. Smash cut to Blood and Truth, a game that is asking quite a bit of PSVR's fairly limited technological capabilities while also having a fair amount of movement in it. It's basically the perfect concoction for a game that I'm going to slam the hard pass button on, but Sony sent me a copy of it and some Move controllers and I wasn't reviewing anything else that week. Yes, the secure review is coming, I'm just scared to put it up because I know everyone's going to get mad at me. So I thought, why not? Let's just review Blood and Truth, and I gotta say, I really liked it.
Colonel, this is Snake. Do you read me? This is amazing.
Let's spend some time talking about how Blood and Truth plays, since every VR game seems to come up with its own confusing set of controls and moves to make things happen. Blood and Truth uses 2 Move controllers to simulate your hands. You can pick up a lot of what you see, and you can do cool shit with it.
We should start a band.
Yeah, but you're tone deaf.
Your mum's tone deaf.
Nick, your mum's my mum.
What's the point?
Mostly you'll be using your hands to shoot guns. You have 2 holsters, one on each hip, so you can dual-wield weapons a la John Wick, or Neo, depending on your generation. Holstering and unholstering like this means that you sort of need to play in a chair without arms. I didn't, and it was awkward. You can reload your weapons by moving one of the controllers to your chest and then back to the underside of the controller. This feels really cool when it works, but mostly it just doesn't, and your character tries to delicately balance the bullets on top of the chamber rather than trying to push them in.
Come on, man. Come on, bro. Are you serious? Lol.
I wish I could say this was the worst of it, but I've got dozens of clips like this where the awkwardness of reloading was beyond the realms of comical and made you seriously question whether your character had even held a firearm, let alone served in the military. Yeah. That's his backstory, by the way, and that's why all the NPCs refer to him as the Soldier.
Shit, man, it's the soldier!
The same way that grunts refer to Master Chief as the Demon.
Boo.
Questions about your deadliness continue as you begin firing weapons and attempt to figure out how the hell to aim them. The bloody truth is that aiming weapons in this game is generally bloody awful, owing to the way that the PSVR handles tracking and the fact that you're holding a vertical stick pretending it's a horizontal weapon barrel. The game does provide you reticles that help make the job easier, but to be honest, I really couldn't think of anything more immersion shattering than carefully aiming down iron sights while dual wielding a pair of 6-shooters. Cade never had to aim down sights, McCree never had to raise his weapon above crotch level, so why the hell should I have to? It all becomes even more cumbersome when the two-handed weapons get involved, particularly the pump-action shotgun, which seems kinda cool until you start using it and immediately stop using it because of how annoying it is.
Yep.
With no physical link between the two move controllers, you're constantly repositioning your hands back and forward, up and down, until you end up resembling like a 1920s boxer. It doesn't ever feel good, so I ended up just steering clear of any weapon that required more than one hand. Even weapons that clearly should have been used as two-handers just became an extension of my dual-wield arsenal, which, to be honest, felt pretty badass anyway. All of this is so frustrating because the actual weapon design is so good. They feel amazing when you pull that trigger with the right sound effects and the haptic feedback and their muzzle flash and the shell casings flying everywhere. It's just glorious. And there's this awesome mod system that's just so satisfying to use.
Give it a laser sight? Nope. Nope. Fine. And the silencer? Nice. And, paint. Put that down there, and oh, we've got black paint. We can try that out. Just take this off and put that there, and grab this one there. Just give it a bit of a, ooh, a little bit of a, oh, it's nice.
I love the weapons in this game. I just wish I could aim them properly. And there are moments when the gunplay clicks and you quickly unholster your weapon to fire off a shot.
Come on, hey, big boy. Soz.
Hey, fuck, Mr. Soldier!
Fuck, I'm such a badass.
But these moments really are very few and far between as you waste dozens of magazines shooting slightly to the left or slightly to the right of a target you could have sworn you were aiming at the entire time. I remember playing the original Duck Hunt on NES. I never felt frustrated by that. I played so much Time Crisis back in the day and I never felt frustrated by that. We're obviously stepping into a new and exciting era of VR-enabled technology at the moment, but when it comes to aiming and shooting a gun, it feels like we haven't evolved past a solution we came up with some 30 years ago. All of this is made worse by how blurry everything is when you're any more than about 10 meters from it. Seriously, up close and personal, things are fine, but stretch the action out a touch and you'll find yourself squinting like, I don't know. This isn't really the developer's fault, of course. It's kind of the limitation of what is PSVR's very entry-level offering. It will get better with time, but right now the onus is really on the developer to know these limits and design around them. This is why I didn't like Farpoint, a game that, unlike Blood and Truth, took its name literally and placed its enemies so far that I reached the point of insanity and just gave up on the second level. If the hardware doesn't support what you've designed, you have to change it, and while it's nowhere near as much of a problem here in Blood and Truth, it definitely is a frustration you'll bump into more than once. Coming back to Time Crisis, I feel like it's the perfect parallel for this game since so much of it feels like a time crisis for the modern age. The majority of the game is spent in fixed positions while you shoot wave after wave of goons, only now you can choose when you move up to the next position or strafe left and right, depending on what you want to do if the game will let you. This is actually really important for someone like myself who suffers from VR sickness, since the point and click style movement generally reduces the occurrence of VR sickness since your brain finds it less confusing. You cannot just move around freely in this game. You can only move to those specific positions, which, as I said, helps a lot. I am the poster child for getting VR sick, and I never once got sick playing this game because of how it handled its movement, so obviously it's doing something right. This goes for the run sequences and the car chases as well. Have I shown you one of those yet? I haven't. Let me show you one of those now.
Michelle, we're gonna do something. You've got to do it now.
Shit! Right. Oh, fuck! Web sling! Shit! Grab a lunch! Grab a lunch! Yes!
See, even during these I didn't get sick because these sequences are always few and far between and they're always short. Game developers have kind of cottoned on to the fact that VR sickness is a thing that affects people, and it's pretty clear that London Studio have done their research with this one. If relentless shooting isn't your speed, then perhaps I can interest you in some of Blood and Truth's more low-key moments. For example, stealth. There isn't a huge amount of stealth here, but it's actually pretty well done, and it feels pretty satisfying to wipe out a room of enemies relying on nothing but your positioning and your headshot aim. Yeah, we've been doing it in other games for years with controllers, but being able to hold up the control like a makeshift gun and pull it off, it just makes it feel that little bit more special. Blood and Truth seems to have a weird obsession with locked doors. Seriously, there are more locked doors per square meter here than, like, I don't know, the Thieves Guild headquarters in Skyrim. The mechanism to unlock those doors is pretty satisfying, so I can't complain too much. There's also a fair amount of electrical rewiring to be done. I know the game tries to pass these off as puzzles, but they're always so absurdly easy that they're more like that block-shaped toy thing that kids play. Still, it's fun to do because you get to pick up pliers and cut wires, and you get to, like, lean closer to look at stuff.
People and climbed up a tower just to get to you, so can we get on with this rescue?
No, don't die!
No, that's not the right clip.
This is pretty cool. Whoa! Run!
Perhaps my favorite gimmick was the climbing, of which there was a lot.
This looks totally normal to anyone watching me do this. This looks totally natural. Just an average workout.
The sheer ridiculousness of moving your arms around so wildly in order to accomplish something in a video game is a bit of a weakness of mine, so I was all in on this. So let's pause for a second. So far we have some janky shooting, some lockpicking, and some climbing. None of which is particularly special. So you're probably wondering, why did I like this game?
Wants us to get into this place.
That's in the city. It's just offices.
Yeah,
This
financial
is new.
services, insurance, so on.
Oh yeah, how did it take this long to find this? Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why we have this. Trojan. He wants us to upload it to their systems.
Okay, we've not got much time.
So let's get on it. The rest of the stuff's upstairs.
What a discovery!
Hold on.
I can't believe I played the whole
What's in the
game
other
not
box?
knowing this exists. I'm only doing this from now on.
See, because I don't play a lot of VR games, a lot of this was a new experience for me. Spending time in spaces and coming back to them, getting to know characters, story development, these things weren't possible in the tech demos I played or in the 3 minutes of playtime I managed before I ended up throwing up. Part of this is because there are very few VR games out there that are trying to do what Blood and Truth is doing. This is a game with a Hollywood cast and a feel pulled straight from like a Guy Ritchie movie. No, not that one, I mean one of his good ones. Scenes like this.
The thing is, it's very difficult getting you all together. And my offer is for the whole family.
Yeah, can we hurry this up, Tone? I've got a date tonight.
You open your fucking mouth again, and I'm gonna put a bullet through her face.
What is it you want?
This is a game with some great performances and some great drama, and you're right there in the thick of it all. It's an incredible feeling to have someone lean towards you threateningly, only for you to then lean forward yourself to stare them down. Okay, their eyes, they get a bit weird when you do that, but you get my point. VR as a platform is only in its most infantile state. It's practically still a fetus. And when it starts to hit its stride, its biggest gains won't be in the way we shoot things. We've been shooting shit for years. It will be in the way we can create emergent storytelling opportunities. You want to be in a story and role-play someone cool, calm, collected, and controlled.
So Charlie knows the situation. This isn't the old Tony, this is something different.
It's Charlie, Mum. He gets it.
His crew is solid. Fucking loons, to be honest. She'll be safe with them.
Also, he's brought in more people. Serious people.
Or do you want to just be a goddamn idiot when even the most serious shit is going down?
I saw you outside the gallery, having a good laugh, weren't you? Well, I've got a good one for you.
Apple
I've got
shop.
your mum. Recent Towers.
Yeah? How do I know she's there?
Come alone.
Yeah. Fuck.
You could play this game through a few different times and approach each cutscene differently with different body language, different environmental interactions, hell, simply looking somewhere else as events play out. Yeah, you could do that in a lot of non-VR games as well, but the feeling is fundamentally different here. I mean, to be honest, I thought the shooting stuff was okay, but I loved this game when the cutscenes were rolling and I was just a part of them. I loved when the game embraced the VR format and took me on a tour of an art gallery just to show me some cool shit.
Oh, that is good though, you've got to admit.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
I am all
Come on, we've got a job to
powerful.
do.
And then, after all of that, I could smash that cool shit because that's what you can do in VR.
God damn this tracking. It's a masterpiece.
There's one scene, I shit you not, where you are on DJ decks, like able to mix music and light up the stage and pyrotechnics and whatever else, and you're also engaged simultaneously in a shootout while like scratching the turntable. Now, if that is not your idea of fun, then what the hell is wrong with you?
All of this is well and good, skill up, but can you please tell us if we should buy it? I'm sick of your stupid.
Look, as much as I enjoyed Blood and Truth, it's a hard game to recommend. First up, it's full priced, it's $60, it's about 5 hours long. In fact, it took me exactly 4 hours and 50 minutes to beat it. That was with some deaths as well, so you could speedrun this probably in like 4 hours.
But Philip, I thought you said game length doesn't matter, it's about quality, not quantity, you useless lying hack.
Yes, I actually do believe that, and for the experience I had, I think it would have been worth $60 to me, but I recognize that I'm the very tiny minority of people that would happily spend $60 on a 1 hour game if I thought the quality was there. For most people, I know they want bang for their buck, and if you're looking for raw hours, 5 hours probably isn't going to cut it. Still, if you bought your PSVR and you've been frustrated, there haven't been really like any games worth buying except Beat Saber, then yes, grab this. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it despite all of its issues, and I found the incredible production value, set pieces, character performance, and over-the-top action totally carried the experience for me. For those of you out there wondering if now would be a good time to jump into the PSVR as a platform, or would this game justify the expense of the PSVR? I'm going to go with no and no. Discussing this properly is a video in and of itself, but at a high level, there are some pretty big problems with the PSVR tech that aren't going to get fixed until the next version on like PS5. You're already seeing the Oculus Rift S and the Valve Index providing vastly better VR experiences, and the Oculus Quest now provides a fully wireless experience. If VR is what you want, spend the extra and go with one of those systems because you are going to get far, far more value from them. But like they say, you got to dance with the one who brung ya, or love the one you're with, or maybe you should settle. You're not getting any younger. No, wait, forget, that's not the one. The point I'm trying to make here is that if you have a PSVR right now, then Blood and Truth is a good video game that is just as fun as it is janky. And while it's more of a stepping stone than it is a final destination, there's more than enough good stuff in the mix to make you glad that you're along for the journey.
We need to push back hard or we're finished.